I have a special place for people that survived New York, the terrorist attacks in New York, uh, because I actually participated in a peer support group 3 weeks after the attacks. I was asked to go to New York and offer that peer support. And some of the stuff I seen out there, it's just going to blow you away. Just
For the peer support, is that specifically law enforcement peer support?
Yes, that was for the officers and the firefighters and the NYPD, the Port Authority, police department, and the fire department. We were there to offer their LAPD sent a total of 3 different teams at 3 different times, and I believe I was the second team.
So what did you see 3 weeks after 9/11 that stood out to you besides, some of the obvious things?
Well, I don't know if you ever had the opportunity to smell the odor of death, as we would call it. It's very distinct, very unique. There's none like it. And as soon as I landed in the airport and were driving to the World Trade Center area, they used to call it Ground Zero, but the first responders and law enforcement, we called it Ground Hero. And I could smell that odor like 10 miles away. And as soon as that hit me, I was like, wow. I was like, there's no freaking way that you would smell that from a crime scene 10 miles away. That just blew my mind.
What do you do from there? Like, especially getting up there for the first time, what was your response?
I was taken back by it. I knew I was going to experience some horrible sights, but what you saw on TV and doesn't do you any justice. And it just, I remember my very first encounter with the NYPD officer. And number one, New Yorkers are notoriously, blunt, straightforward, rude, sometimes like obnoxious. So I remember approaching one NYPD cop and I said, "Hey, sir, how you doing?" He goes, "What? What do you want?" I says, "No, man, hey."
Sounds about right.
Yeah. I said, "No, my name is Moses. I'm from Los Angeles Police Department. I'm here to offer some peer support." As soon as I said Los Angeles Police Department, "Oh, you're one of us. Oh, come on. Let me show you around. Oh, yeah. Come on, everybody, LAPD's here." And so like, they were treating us like VIPs and give us full access to everything. And they gave us our own 9/11 IDs to be able to enter because it was a crime scene, right? So anyways, but that officer expressed, and I've never experienced that before, where he said he lost 6 or 7 of his partners. Gone, just like that. It's like, wow. That was heavy.
Yeah, I want to get back to your year, and specifically you said was hard in 2016. But before I do want to continue to dive down this path because I'm interested in the peer support aspect, of course, personally with September 11th, my father, but more, what was that support like? Like what do you have any specific stories or like this man you just mentioned, but was there anything that stood out in regards to how these people were processing it and how you would help them?
Yeah, I'm going to highlight 2 because they're to me, very powerful. I think very inspiring too, by the way. There was only one way in and one way out to Ground Hero. And 24/7, there was this group of citizens, civilians, people from the community, people from the area that were there with signs saying, "We love you, we support you, thank you." And it was just very nice to see. And I was there with a group of officers from LAPD and a chaplain. And one particular night, as we're approaching this group, and we wanted to say thank you to them for thanking us, right? And when they saw that we were LAPD, they were like, "Oh, wow, LAPD's here." And, same thing, treating us like VIPs. But then as we're talking to one of the people that are hurling a sign saying, "We love NYPD, we love FDNY," this lady just approached them and she's crying. She says, "I came to say thank you because my husband, who is a firefighter," I even believe she said he was a firefighter captain, "just got home an hour ago or so, and he was going to come home to commit suicide. But for all you hear saying thank you and appreciate your love and support of the firefighters and first responders, he changed his mind. He's not going to kill himself because of you for saying thank you. We love you. We're here for you. And so she came to thank us for that. And that was very powerful because the pain that these first responders, the survivors, were feeling is real. Many of them got tattoos, very special, unique tattoos of fallen heroes on their forearms, on their shoulders, and man, and some of these tattoos were like fresh. You could see how fresh they were. The ink was still wet, and that was the way that they honored their their loved ones, or the ones that they lost. And we're walking around the World Trade Center in the midst of all the rubble, and some of it was still burning. And I remember I was with one of our chaplains, and we ran into a fire captain, and he was by himself, and he saw us. We approached him. We approached him and say, "Hey, my name is Moses. I'm from LAPD. We're here for you. We love you guys. Here support." He was like, "Oh, wow, really?" And he starts to share me. Well, I lost. I forget. He told me, but it was a great number of people that he lost, and he was in pain. You could tell he was fighting back tears. And he goes, "I was just walking around, and I think God blessed me with this very special gift." I go, "What is that?" And then it was a baseball. It was a baseball of that was autographed by all the New York Yankees.
Oh, no way.
And he said this must have come from somebody's office within the World Trade Center. And I'm a huge Yankee fan, and so when I saw this, it's like, wow. And I said, "Oh, wow, that's amazing." I said, "Can I see it?" David, he hands me the ball. It was hot.
Oh, geez.
It was so freaking hot. I think he was so numb to the pain that he didn't even realize how hot this thing was.
Yep.
And I was like, I had to like, dude, are you kidding me? You're holding on to this. This thing's still burning hot. And so as soon as I said that, he just reached out and gave me this tight hug that I've never felt this stronger hold ever in my life. It was but I could feel the release of all that pain that he was experiencing. And he just let it out.
And, what I'm pulling from that, I'm curious what you think. I think one of the big things with 9/11 and just any public catastrophe like that, one of the nice things, if you could even find nice things from that day, was the community. And it seemed like from the example you just gave me with that firefighter that came home and decided to, keep his life, it was that community. It was that everyone coming together and that support. And sometimes I find it not so much what you can say to people, but just, even though the thank you obviously was some words that were said, it's sometimes just being there. And that sometimes is just enough. So was that a big part of your peer-to-peer as opposed, and like just being an ear? Like what was it outside of the examples you just gave that seemed to have helped people?
Absolutely. It was just the peer-to-peer. And then many people say, "Man, you came all the way from California to New York just for us," and they appreciated that. And I also attended the funeral service for everybody that lost their lives at the World Trade Center that were part of the uh, New York Port Authority police. They had their own funeral, and back then it was the mayor, Rudy Giuliani, and the governor of New York, and all the VIPs, and it was at the Madison Square Gardens, and the whole front section was reserved just for the families of the deceased, and then the other stadium was, I thought, was just everybody else, the public. And we sat somewhere in the middle. There was 4 of us from LAPD that attended that meeting, attended that service. And one of the speakers stood up because before I give my words today of encouragement, whatever he said, he said, "I'd like to acknowledge the families of those that did not make it, and would you please stand so we could honor you?" So, of course, I wasn't surprised to see all the front middle section. Everybody stood up, and they got a standing ovation and applause, and just to acknowledge them, and that was very powerful. And then once they sat down, the speaker, I forget who it was, I want to say it was somebody related in the state government. But anyways, he says, now I want to take the time and acknowledge those of you that were in the buildings and survived and are here today. Would you also please stand? I'd like to acknowledge you and also, take the opportunity to honor you as well. And to my surprise, David, the only 4 people that was sitting down, that remained sitting, was the 4 that came from LAPD. Everybody else stood. And as I turned around and I started to see all these miracles, I was like, wow. And I was shaking their hands. Oh man, God bless you. We're from LAPD here for you guys. And they were like crying. I says, no, you're the heroes. You guys are the ones that survived it. So amidst all the tragedy and the horrible things that happened, I witnessed a lot of miracles.